Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Friday everyone. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So if you're a regular on our channel, you know that I was off yesterday, my son's 16th birthday. Believe it or not, we went down to Palm Desert, which seems kind of insane because it was 115 down there. But then we rode the aerial tramway up to Mount San Jacinto, and it was like 70 or 75 up there. Super nice. Took a hike. It was beautiful up there, and then we went back down into the desert and suffered, and went to Dave & Buster's so my son could play some video games, and then we headed out. So overall, pretty good day. Lots of sweating though. Anyway, that's not why you guys are here. So come back to this. Why don't we start on this one here? We'll go in chronological order from what I worked on today. So today I went ahead and pulled the beam out the rest of the way. I think I'd started on it yesterday. So yeah, today pulled the sway bar off. There's its gross clamps there. I had to cut them off. And there's their gross steering box, which we haven't cleaned yet. There is all of the torsion arms and the pedal assembly. So those things are all blasted and ready for paint thanks to Jacob. So yeah, that is pretty much what happened on this one today. So I do have the new adjustable stock width beam right there, all wrapped up in bubble wrap. And his disc brake kit is there. And the rotors are there, and those two drums. And what else? Yeah, so still have to paint the master cylinder. Still, I'm sure have to paint the rotors, obviously the non-braking surfaces of those. And yeah, so then we'll start putting it back together once everything gets painted here. Got an order in for Wolfsburg West for all the torsion arm seals and body to beam pads and all that good stuff. New rag joint, new steering coupler, that is also known as. And yeah, so all those doodads are on order. Probably have them Monday, and then the front end of this car at least can go back together here pretty soon. So as I mentioned, I did pull the pedal assembly out. And his pedal, his clutch cable shaft, the one that kind of sticks out of the end of the pedal assembly, it's a little bit wore. And so, you know what, we have the whole thing apart anyway, so I'll be putting a new pedal shaft on there. And his clutch cable didn't look great, so we'll be putting new clutch cable. While we're at it, new throttle cable, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, you're already in there, and those parts are relatively inexpensive to replace, and so if there's any question, pretty much just do it. So there you go. I still need to pull his single circuit master cylinder. That is of course only 2 bolts and a few lines, and yeah, and then at that point this will be ready to reassemble, like I said, once everything's painted and stuff anyway, and seals come in. So that was kind of the first part of my day there on this pup. And then decided to kind of switch gears and finally start tackling this beast here. So this is this 57 Beetle that came in for a transmission swap to that one from that one. And he needs the remote oil cooler, the remote oil filter plumbed in. He needs his electric fuel pump plumbed in. He needs the whole, you know, gas, all the gas lines connected, pretty much front to back. There's nothing connected right now anywhere. So yeah, pretty much taking this car from, you know, I don't know, let's just say 80 something, 85 plus maybe percent done project to something that's running, driving, safe, reliable car. So speaking of safe, this is the one that had the urethane coupler on it that exploded literally when we were moving the car around. So check out my short as a tech tip on that. Do not use those, guys. If your car has a urethane, the red urethane steering coupler, pull it off ASAP, throw it in the garbage. and get a real one with that's a laminate of cloth and rubber, and it even if the rubber fails, the thing will not fail catastrophically. So please do that. So anyway, yeah, the motor came out without too much. He claimed that the motor could come out with the intake manifold still on it. Guy, I didn't see anyway. The engine shelves are like sitting right up to here, and the manifolds come out to about here. You know, they kind of come out and up, and they're about that much over the engine shelves. He claims that it came out without pulling those off, but you know what? Once the carburetors are off, you have pretty good access to the two nuts that hold the manifolds on, so I didn't even want to deal with it. I just pulled the manifolds off. And then the only other, well, so I pulled off the serpentine, or I don't know, what do you call these things? These kind of belts, serpentine belt, I guess. I've never really run these. I don't really feel like they're necessary. I don't know. They look kind of cool, but anyway, pulled that off because that was kind of trying to hit the body, this big clunky pulley right here. The distributor was hitting the body, and what else? You can see where I marked the apron right here, which I think is where it's going to need to be cut to fit in the car when the motor is situated more properly in there. The other thing, though, is I think that he's got these big chunky MST, same brand as that, valve covers that are just super enormous, guys. They come like straight out, way, I don't know, they're just gigantic. And before I pulled the motor out of the car, I was sort of looking up underneath there just to kind of get a sense of how everything was fitting or not fitting. And those valve covers are literally within like a millimeter or so of the sheet metal kind of at the bottom of the shelves there on the side of the engine compartment. So I don't know, guys, if this motor is sitting a little bit different at all with the new transmission and stuff in there, those valve covers are going right up into the engine sheet metal. And so so I think we may have to ditch those giant fat valve covers and just put on some more regular ones that kind of slope down more. Here, I can show you guys one of these if you haven't seen them before. I mean, they're beautiful and they're all, billet or whatever and machined looking, but see how that comes straight out really, really far? These things are just unnecessarily enormous. And so yeah, like I said, this top surface right here, literally millimeters away from the body sheet metal. So I feel like even if they clear, just driving the car, the motor is going to move enough that they're probably going to be ramming into the body, which I'm not a big fan of that. Things should clear even when you're driving the car, not just when it's sitting in a parking lot or whatever. So I don't know. We'll see, guys. Probably going to have to do some work on the tin here, maybe swap out those valve covers, and then again, I've got to plumb. So the motor is full flow, so there's fittings there coming out of the pump and then the return line. There's already a filter kind of loosely mounted up here that needs to be plumbed, and then from there I'll have to run lines forward up underneath the package tray somewhere for the remote oil cooler, and plumb all that in, and kind of a pain in the ass, frankly, but not a big deal. You just got to be methodical and try and route things neatly and stuff like that, not having like oil lines laying on exhaust pipes and stuff like that. The other thing I need to ask this guy is if he wants to do something with his firewall. I don't really know. It hasn't come up yet, but I mean, he's just got this like Dynamat or whatever on here now, and I mean, it shows when the engine's in. Maybe that's what he wants. I don't know. I haven't, but now obviously is the time to do something about it if he wants to, because I don't know. It just doesn't look. It looks unfinished, I guess, to me. It looks like it should have something that's not Dynamat on it. But anyway, we'll see. So I got to check with him on that. What his thoughts are on that. And so yeah, once the engine came out, went ahead and pulled the transmission out, and the brakes, yeah, pretty much just left the lines hooked up and unbolted the calipers and kind of swung them down out of the way. No point in opening that part of the brake system up, since I can just move those out of the way. The brakes, I believe everything needs to be bled and stuff, but again, I didn't really want to open the brake system unless I had to. So we'll once everything's back together, then of course we'll start bleeding those and we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, yeah, I just left them intact. What else, guys? Yeah, I think so. Probably Monday. I'll start seeing about putting his new transmission in, and then the motor. I don't know, guys. I might start some initial test fitting on it. Probably pull this off initially at least, and then kind of stick the motor up in there and see how that goes. You know, see if or how much I need to trim this. And yeah, it's a process, guys. You don't want to trim too much and end up with like a big gap in there, but then you don't want things rubbing. So this was kind of my best estimate of where the cut will need to be, and this is based on the oval windows that I've done before with big motors. This is pretty much where you cut them. You really cut almost right to the vertical edge here and here, and then you come away from it a little bit in the middle, and then you kind of cut over on the sides. This is pretty much normal from what I've done before on oval windows. So nothing surprising here. That's pretty much how you have to trim them. Of course, remember, a 36 horsepower motor is a decent bit smaller, you know, physically, the width and the depth and everything than like, say, a 1600 base motor, which of course is what this is. So not surprisingly, some things have to be trimmed and stuff. So guys, I believe that is it for today. I am planning on coming in tomorrow and working on one of my cars, maybe my split window, maybe my convertible. Not sure, but I'll be here for a little while. So look out, please, for a video tomorrow. Again, probably of day in the life of working on my own stuff. So until then, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again soon. Bye.